Ourselves back into draft.
Perfect timing. Let's go. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I think OMG have a lot to turn around after that one. I think
Yes.
we're gonna see some particular focuses here. So you see all those bands at the bottom. Fearless means that what you've chosen before in the series is no longer available for you. And you see obviously the Nidalee band targeting towards Xiaofeng. We already get a lot of ADC focus as well, and that Tristana you focused on at the end of game
Where's
one.
Skarner? Where is Skarner? Tell me where he is. That's not been banned. That should
That's
be.
a first pick right there.
I think you're looking at Skarner being a very likely first pick. Now, what?
No way.
What do you mean we're in a first pick LeBlanc meta? What?
What?
What is this? Of
There's
all the
no
things I
way.
expected, this is not it.
If OMG doesn't pick Skarner in one of these two, I'm gonna be like, if OMG get Varus Skarner in 1-2 on red, I'm gonna.
What?
My mind is gonna explode.
That is absolutely insane
Is it a bait?
to me.
Is it a bait? Like there's no way that LNG are doing this without a plan.
You know what? That's my 2023 spring and
I'm
summer
coping.
MVP scout, man. That's my dude. That's my dude in the mid lane right there. I mean,
I am hard coping.
Scout was always an incredible LeBlanc, but even then,
It's not. So we have seen on the first day that Breathe Skarner went 0-4. They should have lost that game. I think maybe OMG aren't really confident in taking Skarner where he can get counterpicked.
So we have seen that Twisted Fate beats Skarner in lane, and that's why the hover is there. But you see the Twisted Fate already, and you're like, that feels kind of crap. So it is still a strong enough champion for you to go, I don't care. Now, this is actually quite interesting now, because you've already seen the Twisted Fate locked in towards top lane. You know there's no tank to be locked in for OMG from that role. That means you're okay locking in Jhin, because Jhin sucks when the team has any more than, like, one tank. Now if you just ban out the jungle tank champions like Sejuani, and I think Sejuani's the only one that's really problematic, then Jhin gets to play against basically a full squishy lobby, and he's completely okay with that. So I think this is quite an intelligent draft. On 2-3 from LNG, I don't like the LeBlanc first pick, but at least knowing that the Skarner's not been locked in and you're not playing against the tanks, enabling the Jhin, that to me is quite heads up.
First and foremost, I never want to hear Jhin and Sucks that close to each other in a sentence ever again. Secondly, I'm a huge fan of this because it gives so much utility to the stronger points of the roster. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see Gala in 2 games back-to-back be more of that kind of utility. Yes, Senna can have a lot of strength later, but now we get the Camille ban by LNG, so they don't want any taste of their own medicine in 2 different fronts here. I guess 3 different fronts. Do you think we get continued engage presence bans from OMG? Okay.
They look towards the combo with the LeBlanc as well. You know what? This is a different conversation. I was talking about Twisted Fate's going towards topside. It's Angel in mid lane. Of course he can play that Twisted Fate. He played it a lot in spring as well. I just completely slept on that. That's absolutely something that we need to highlight. Angel, one of the most famous Twisted Fate players in the LPL. He made a World Finals playing Twisted Fate in Twisted Fate meta back in 2020 on CMA.
And he can match LeBlanc.
And it can absolutely match LeBlanc as well. It's been one of the more fun matchups in the past because, of course, LeBlanc can't dash away from the wildcards. Or the pick a card, rather.
See where that flexibility is going to go, at least.
Oh.
OMG going to pull the trigger on a rising prio pick recently. It is the Karthus jungle here.
So, double globals. You can have the Twisted Fate porting in, gold carding, and trying to one-shot people with the Karthus ult as well. That's very important for that. And one thing we said at the end of Game 1 was LNG have used their Nidalee pick. You cannot pick anything that you have picked in previous games. You can use anything the enemy team has used, but not your own picks you picked from previous games. That means you don't have the Nidalee to go into Karthus' jungle and kill him. You need something that can either match the Karthus or find a way to accelerate the game before he is relevant. Stuff like engaged champions can work like that. Graves can kill Karthus in 1v1s, but it is a risky prospect. It is much harder to play than the Nidalee they played in Game 1.
I really like the Graves. I know it's going to be interesting to pull it off.
Okay, you're going to have to sell me on this. Sell me on it, Mazel.
Well, I just, more so because I get to see a really good moment for Jhin to set up other champions in a lot of ways for this composition. So if Gala is on point, I feel like this comp melds really well together. But but it's all going to be if Gala's actually having a really good game, and it's going to be kind of hidden from that, right? We do get the Scion locked
Right.
into the Skarner matchup, so it's not going to be that TF. It looks like it's going to be the TF mid for Angel to go into the LeBlanc for the side lane matching, but we got to see what this Scion can do into Skarner.
The Scion discarded to me is just like, I'm going to farm up, and then I'm just going to stand in front of Jhin skill shots eventually. That's probably the plan. I'm interested to see how much value Cube will get out of that pick. Cube, huge frontline player for OMG. Back in spring, he was the Udyr merchant. He played so much Udyr, folks. And I was worried in Fearless what he was going to do without that pick. He had the Xante in game 1. I think on an individual level, he was fine. Now going on to the Scion in game 2 again, just playing that tank frontline style, which maybe can hinder that Jhin, and make use of that last pick to say, okay, that TF can go towards that mid lane, flex the tank towards top.
So I think a lot of this game, especially earlier on, is going to rely on jungle matchup here, and how Xiaofeng can kind of stay away from Weiwei in some extent. Because as the Karthus, and I think what we saw to success in the first couple days of LPL was just hope to get to late game. Like, you can have some interaction around some objectives, some good team fight. You can like sacrifice yourself, but really you're looking to hard farm and get to points where your Requiem is decimating the enemy team.
Yesterday we saw Wei. Oh yeah, we saw Wei playing the cards. Now we have Wei. Okay, whatever. No, he's not played the cards just yet, but you know. Anyway, that'll be a fun thing. But yes, when we saw Wei playing, he went towards the Dark Harvest. He was looking to be kind of like a more teamfight cleanup champion. I think in this kind of game against so many squishy champions that are quite mobile, the likes of the Legraves and LeBlanc, yeah, opening up with that ult can be really important. It is another Dark Harvest. I wonder whether it should have been something like that first strike again, just to be that opening upfront damage.
Yeah. Ultra Prime used it for Hacker as well, trying to just keep the aggression away. So, like, he had made some really rough mistakes aggressive-wise. Like, he was just overextending and stuff in the first game. And goes game 2, just chills back, hits R to pick up, like, 3 kills throughout the early part of the game. And there you go, easy peasy. We do see the picks here, though. We have the first strike for the LeBlanc. So Scout having a little bit more of that poke. We also have that Hail of Blades for the Varus.
Yeah, and we have seen some first strike on the Varus as well. The big thing about first strike for people who've not tracked the changes coming in from MSI to Summit is first strike does, particularly on ranged champions, a lot less damage, but it does give you a lot more gold right now. So the base damage from first strike went from 8% bonus damage down to 4%, so it's halved in terms of the extra damage that you get on that. But then the gold which you get used to be in early game base 5 gold that you get. And that's base 15 every time you proc it. You can get a lot of gold out of laning phase.
A little note to see if it actually ends up in anything. Cube did leash for Xiaofeng, so it was pretty late to the lane up there. Should see some pretty heavy health trades in mid lane. Scout already getting the better of Angel a little bit there.
Scout's doing... so this is really fun, by the way, folks. One of the new things in the runes as well, sudden impact, very strong. So you see the Ignite dropped on bot side.
Ooh, that's a lot of damage on Hung. He has no real way out of this. No heal, nothing. He's just going to have to burn the flash.
Nicely done there from PP God on that Nautilus to make sure he can force that Rel back a little bit. But yes... thing about the sudden impact is that it's less on the... What the heck is that hook? Oh, man, right, okay, let me talk about runes, goddammit. Let me talk about runes. These players, they fight too much. It is the LPL, I guess. But sudden impact gives you extra damage on your next attack after you have dashed. It's on a 4-second cooldown, so LeBlanc, every time you W, gets like a big chunk of damage instead of the flat pen. Very good in early game, but also means that when you weave in auto attacks, it can be very, very impactful too.
Little milestone there for Cube. 400 games in the LPL.
Gosh, that's actually a lot. Yeah, I mean, he's
been around for a little while.
I have to say, you know, Cube has had some pretty okay moments. He's been pretty good during that time too. I feel like Cube is one of those players that never quite made it into like the elite top laners, but even when I came into cast LPL last year, I thought back in the early splits, he was actually doing really well just back then. He's not quite been the star player of OG. He has been, again, just on tank duty, but player of his tenure knows when it's time for him to have his flowers and time for him to support the others.
I think last summer was a little rough with Team WE, but the 2 years prior to that, he was with R-Ray and had some good moments. He was also getting subbed out occasionally there, but yeah, it's been nice to see him kind of overtake some of the maybe void that was left when Shanji is gone. from OMG.
Yeah.
But hey, happens. Now, I do want to take a look at a little bit about these next entrances for both teams. LNG, they're definitely looking to use Weiwei to upset Xiaofeng's clear in any way possible, but we do have these objectives coming up sporadically within the next couple minutes.
Yeah, and this is why, so you were talking about, you know, kind of going towards the objectives, disrupting that clear. This is where Fearless actually does make a difference, because as we said, in that last game, Nidalee was really important for Weiwei in regards to just getting into the enemy jungle and keeping a lead over that opposing number. Can't do it as easily with the Graves. It's not just hit a spear, force a flash or a kill. You can definitely do that with Nidalee. With the Graves, it's a little bit more involved at that point. Your time to kill is a little higher, especially in the early game, compared to that Nidalee, so you need to be quite afraid of that one. Scout knows that he has a safe top side. He had his jungler put a ward over on Raptors and will spot Xiaofeng there now. Hung roaming into mid lane, level up on PP God, but doesn't have the flash to go into a play if it comes to it.
Scout just going to get the better of the poke. They will end up spotting out PP God anyways. They also see that control ward, so they're going to use some of this pressure to get that. PP God going to stick around because you do have Xiaofeng right behind him. That dragon spawns just now. It is an Infernal Dragon. So an early Infernal Dragon, both these teams would be really nice.
Yeah, just nice to get those stacking as well, because when you have two compositions with, you know, a LeBlanc that loves side lanes, Twisted Fate with a global, and the Scion that can roam from side lanes too, the way this comes back to dragons is, later into the game, if you want to play side lanes, you want multiple dragons, so you can choose to ignore dragons if you want. The first dragon of the game, and particularly the first two dragons of the game, can give you options later into the game to play around both these compositions.
God, Scout is just getting the better, and that late flash signals his doom. That's a solo kill and a first blood for Scout.
So, we were wondering why the LeBlanc was first picked. Folks, this is why the LeBlanc was first picked. Angel, on his Twisted Fate, his comfort champion, gets absolutely busted by Scout. Solo kill in the mid lane, gets himself a huge CS lead, and that's going to open up bot side entrance for LNG. Angel can't really roam away from mid lane, doesn't have his ultimate yet either, and he's blown his flash. Huge win in that mid lane. Gives a strategic advantage over to LNG.
That second guessing yourself will get you every single time. Earlier flash saves him, not flashing, keeps the summoner spell, splits the difference, and now ends up worse for wear because of it. We do still have OMG trying to put some pressure around this Dragon Pit. We're going to take a look back at that one.
So, what happens here? We did say that the early damage from LeBlanc, actually very high with sudden impact right now. He goes into a cannon wave, just says, I don't care, but he gets himself to level 6, pops the triple tonic extra damage bit, walks straight in, and gets that kill just about that. Really well played there from Scout to get extra value.
And now that Scout has the Lost Chapter coming back out of base and 2 stacks on his Darksail, they're going to use that pressure from their solo lanes to get the grubbies. Meanwhile, we got a dive execution on the bot side, but guess who else is here? Angel. And they've already picked off Hung. Now they're under tower against Gala, and that's an easy double kill cleanup for Xiaofeng and OMG.
Scout does have Flash, and he did have his Mimic available, but with the gold card locked in, can't really find anything more from that. Trap is procced. Finds the Cutlass!
Oh, knew he was there. Trying to go for the kill. Can't get the auto attack, but Scout makes it out easy.
Close stuff. Scout not quite able to get towards the bot side in time. He managed to get that great solo kill onto Angel, which stopped the Twisted Fate from roaming out of lane, but then LNG kind of forgot that it wasn't just, we got the kill. Twisted Fate can never press his ultimate button now. Well, of course he can. So that's a bit of a misread from LNG, miscommunication about where Angel was going to be on the map. Scout, however, though, still opening up a huge individual lead. He will, again, need to keep holding Angel down to make sure that something like that doesn't happen again.
Really, really good damage calculations from Scout early on this LeBlanc. He's putting out so much pressure, and it's so early still. See what that side lane has to bear later on. We do have that dragon still up, as nobody's been able to put enough pressure around there. We do have Weiwei moving that way now, and Angel takes another huge trade.
I mean, Scout's chain accuracy has been really good when he's been on screen so far. He's been... This is such a disgusting point in the game, too, where we saw Humanoid do this against Cream at MSI, where LeBlanc is a champion that can use mid lane waves in a very potent way. If you can't approach the minion wave, LeBlanc will stand beyond the minion wave or jump over the minion wave and punish you before you can get back to your tower. Scout's been doing that really, really well, and now Twisted Fate, who's behind so much gold, is in real threat of just being snowballed out of this individual lane. OMG need to get Angel away from LeBlanc.
A little bit of a late start here by OMG. They're going to commit to it, though. Why not, I guess? Half health, 50-50. Here comes Weiwei and co. to push them out. Hung's not even going to let him go for the 50-50 as the curtain gets called. PP God goes out of the way, and there's an instant trade. It is jungle for at least one. Now Weiwei trying to survive, but can't even get the dragon. OMG resetting onto Scout here, too, and Scout's getting low. Golly gonna shot the dragon down out of all of it. And that's what Jin's there for, baby. Objective secure.
Yeah, fourth shot was sure something, but Scout goes down in that play. Big amount of gold going over back towards OMG because of the shutdown onto the LeBlanc. It feels like LNG, they kind of missed the second part of this fight. They misplayed it a little bit. I think this initial play is completely fine. The timing of Hung going in with the extended engage range of Graves' ult and the LeBlanc jumping over to, fantastic. Get straight onto Xiaofeng, and that's the card instead. But they've overcommitted beyond this point. They don't get themselves enough value out of the second part of this play. And Scout, I think he's just caught off guard by the pink ward in the brush, and he can't even get himself a trade back. He knows there's a ward in there, misses his distortion straight up. Would have been a 2-for-2 trade if he just distorts right in front of him. Here's the Twisted Fate ult.
Back into it. And Scout gets caught on the blast cone, but gets one back as he uses his fancy feed the damage to that LeBlanc. He had that Luden's Companion available. That's what did so much damage there.
Yeah, that first item spike, very, very powerful, but Scout has now died twice in as many minutes. That is something that cannot be allowed to continue happening. LeBlanc's the champion where your first death of the game typically slows you down a lot. Luckily, in this case, it hasn't completely done that, and they do buy the Twisted Fate Ultimate 2, which will give some breathing room for LNG to play out the next part of this game. What happens here, though? Jumps forward onto Xiaofeng, and he uses both his distorts. Xiaofeng positions himself between the return portals. That means that Angel can come in and easily clean up Scout towards the end of this. Xiaofeng does go down, but the fact that Xiaofeng walks forward into the distortions allows him to get a return trade.
He's getting something back. You also have Blackfire Torch completed for Xiaofeng. This can be a nice little damage spike with those sorcery boots. So they're going to move this over towards the Grubs, trying to deny those 6 stacks from LNG. Should be able to clean this one up with 5 members strong up here. LNG focus on other parts of the map.
So, Zucker, we haven't talked about the Skarner at all, have we? I see it on screen. Skarner is a champion which has ruled the LPL in the first few days of play. We thought that this pick would be so important. Scout walking into Angel, the ADTF racking through those auto attacks, but Scout trading back.
Yeah, but that chain, though, it does so much damage. And here through the wall, here comes Ixtal's impact. Is it going to connect? It doesn't. Zika unable.
He thought he was in flash range. He thought he was in ult flash range. Doesn't manage to get it. Xiaofeng, no flash. Has his ult, so might be able to trade something back. Just trying to clear the wave right now.
You gotta remember, this pick can still scuffle pretty heavily. It is gonna be LNG finally moving out from this weird tower dive situation, but they're gonna move right back in. Scout gets another
Xiaofeng wants to die. He has no mana. He wants to die. Yeah. He needs to ult now.
He's gonna go down. He has an angle here for the Skittles popping. Here comes the Requiem, but it's gonna be nearly not enough.
And I feel like there from Xiaofeng and OMG, it's just, it's an overstay towards topside. Xiaofeng also finding out that, you don't get mana regen from your jungle item if you're stood in a lane. That's a bit of a awkward situation. He needed to die earlier if he wanted to protect his teammates. Maybe he should have just given up the ghost, quite literally, to get himself access to a bit, well, of course, the mana-less state of your passive. And LNG, once again, showing that they're very proficient at playing through the kind of 12 to 20-minute mark in side lanes with their Scout champions and Zucker's side lane champions as well.
Now, that's what I want to talk a little bit more about since we're getting to this mid-game here. As we see the actual toggle is 269 gold for Scout so far from his first strike. Do we still think there's, since it's an item in advantage or so, maybe a little bit less than a full item for Scout, does he win the side lane now against Angel and they can kind of push priority that way?
Oh, I really think Scout is going to be winning everything against every individual champion in the game. The question is not whether Scout wins individual matchups. It's whether he gets a one-shot combo before a response comes in from Karthus or TF.
Yeah.
That's typically how that's going to go. So we can see right now, Scout pushing up towards that top side. There isn't a Karthus ult right now, and no one else is roaming up towards his lane. And one of the things you can do with LeBlanc is, in fact, it was just, goddammit, you should have shown that on camera. That would have been great. LeBlanc is a really annoying champion because you can jump forward, toggle a load of skills, and then get out of tower range before the tower starts targeting you because you just immediately flick back to your distortion. You can do it kind of on Yone as well with your E pop back. It means that you're very, very powerful at chunking people under turret. So watch for how Scout can use that as he pushes in on waves.
Ooh, Gala out a little bit. He does have some teammates there. They're going to start the Rift Herald instead of being focused on the bot side. Zika locked down just a bit. Does have the big rock in his arms. See LNG move down. Will be a 5-on-4 right now. They're going to get the hook in now as well. All the way in. PP God goes, but all the way down to re-engage from Scout. He does so much damage. A shotgun to the dome. Takes out Xiaofeng Requiem, but it's only a dream. As you do have that Q call coming out there. Q blocks all of it. It's going to be an interesting fight, but LNG, they seem to come out the better of it.
I didn't quite expect the Requiem for a Dream line, but that's a good one. I'll save that one for later. One thing which I also wasn't expecting as well is LNG to just buy into a straight-up front-to-back 5v5. I don't think that's what their composition really wants, and you can see that. The hook into Varus ult combo is really hard for LNG's composition to deal with. They end up walking away with, well, not the Herald that didn't die. They walk away with, I guess, there's some even kills at the back of that too, but you can see the failings of this comp. They need to get multi-angled fights to allow the Jhin and the LeBlanc to get access to the backline.
Oh, Scout trying to get out of there. Wei secures the dragon right out there. Xiaofeng couldn't get anywhere close as he was still coming out from base. So it's going to be a second dragon for LNG. Two really good ones too as we take a look back at that fight.
This is what I was talking about here. The hook. Varus ult comes in after that point. The Varus ult's going to start spreading because of the CC chain. The front line completely melts. I think that LNG really overestimated how quickly they could kill the first target. Scout has to put himself into a load of danger to get himself into kill range. And diving into a Karthus, even if you kill him, he's going to still do damage back. Very, very dangerous. Herald's going to get started again. Are LNG going to try doing the same type of fight again? It's very dangerous.
Looking at PP God's hooks. Can he land on the Gala? About half health on the Rift Herald. Zika looking for an Ixtal's impact from the top side. We do have Scout finally arriving from the mid lane. TP coming down. That will be Q joining here. Ixtal's impact right into Q, but he's in the front line now. He goes ahead and gets the impale on a PP God. Angel's getting a little low. Deadly Flourish in. The Rift Herald goes over to Wei. LNG still trying to scrap this one out, though. Zika gets caught by the Chains of Corruption. PP God gonna miss the hook. As we do get a kill for Varus on this Skarner, made in a little bit of snack out of
Scout.
Scorpion. Xiaofeng just gets completely caught up. I love that Scout can just kind of dissect these fights like this.
Oh man, LNG, they somehow walk away with the Herald and they walk away with a decent fight on top of that too. Feels like they're just kind of outperforming in the actual execution of team fights right now. He's going to walk up with the Herald. Again, he can really punish a lot of people under tower. With that ability to just hop back and forth, he's doing a really solid job of keeping up his damage numbers. He has the Herald to force down this turret, as and when he wants to too.
Oh, hung.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah,
oh my god, he's out!
Mind games! Let's go! He had it all planned from the start.
Well, now you're thinking with portals, I guess, or something like that. Gets out somehow. I love that. That's so great. Let's go over this fight again. Zerka gets himself into a flank position. Not gonna say it. I don't think this Skarn has been the most impactful thing ever. He gets onto the Scion. It's not really threatening someone in that backline. Carries PP God over. It doesn't really feel like it's the most valuable though.
He engage from Hung right there.
Okay, that's okay in some sense, but it really feels like the backline of OMG didn't care about that Skarner at all. Yeah, and I think that, you know, PP God was stopped a little bit, but yeah.
Scout doing the most. He gets the eye and gets the kill.
Yeah, it is. This is no longer LNG. This is Scout and Friends. We're renaming it here officially now.
That was Scout and Friends.
That was kind of last year thinking about it, but anyway, he's having a good game here on the first pick. LeBlanc, keep calling that one out. Has himself a Zhonya's now as well, so we can Zhonya's through a gold card for one, but also through the Karthus ult, more importantly, and the Nautilus ult too. See how that affects the way he plays that team fights.
Yeah. I want to focus it because I think OMG, they still have some really nice team fighting, scaling aspects to their team. And I think Xiaofeng is going to be a big kicker to that, but you're really looking at like 3 items, right? So you're still very far off of that goal. And I guess can OMG ride the storm right now?
Yeah, once you get rapid
Or
fire
ride
cannon,
the chillin' maybe.
yeah. Well, I mean, they do have... I mean, it depends on which kind of points of Chinese mythology you get through. They sometimes call down lightning as well. Lightning is a big thing in Chinese mythology, by the way. It's symbolic of trial and tribulation, which you overcome to reforge yourself. And it's very dramatic. It's actually very cool.
I love it.
I enjoy reading a good Shansha every now and then, some of those novels. Anyway, they do have rapid fire cannon coming up soon. When that comes through, the game changes a lot, because then you can get really long-range fire cannon cards onto someone like the LeBlanc and stop them impacting the game.
Angel has a 2-level disadvantage from Scout. Scout is menacing with his 2 items and 7 stacks on his Darksteel, also with the Rift Herald. Able to take down maybe one of those side lanes. Dragon coming up at about 40 seconds now would be a soul point for LNG, and you see OMG already trying to get some vision out ahead of the game.
One of the things that we mentioned earlier is LNG, they have good side lane options because Scout is so far ahead. He's just gone back. I love this. The Darksteel is a library card. You cash that in, you get yourself a book. He's going to be taking out that Magi's on loan and seeing if you can add any value out to that one as well. That's not really how libraries work, but hey, he's got a book. But they can give up a dragon if they want and get side lane advantage if that's more important for them. They have options, which is the important thing for this.
I think I know it's gonna be a little bit of a side tangent right before a really important fight, but the versatility of League of Legends right now has been really awesome to watch, especially the way the LPL has been picking it apart. Rift Herald now going in, gonna die before anything. PP God gets the depth charge engaged there. Chains of Corruption going down. Requiem coming out now too. Weiwei's already down, so objective contesting is out of the game right now for LNG. That means OMG move forward.
But the LNG didn't have to hard fight towards this dragon. They could have left it. That was the bonus of having 2 early dragons. So OMG showing once again that they are really, really happy to walk up and just throw hooks and CC at people. Person that we've not talked about a huge amount so far is Starry on the Varus. The damage from those arrows is getting absolutely absurd in that pick combo. That buys them the dragon. That's going to buy them an extra bit of pressure on the map. And they're very happy with how that last phase of play went.
Coming all the way through the OMG developmental system from Oh My Dream in the LDL. Here he is. He started as a jungler, by the way, and he's already had 2 banger games back to back. First on the Jinx here now.
Look how much damage that does, man. That arrow is disgusting. And the fact that Weiwei jumps in to try and save Scout, I think that was the real mistake there. Scout could make it out. He had the Zhonyas too. And, you know, Flash. Weiwei, he had no business being in that position. Now we need to see LNG once again, see how they can use Scout. He's jumping forward, but he's not really killing the side lane kind of aspect of this game in the way which I would have expected. He's trying to get these kind of smoke and mirrors play out of Fog of War play, but he's losing waves to do this right now, and that's a problem.
Some utility being played through from Gala on the Jhin right now. They're trying to move around this to get some vision, but OMG are just trying to get this mid lane push going for themselves. They've already gotten the outer tower here. LNG are lacking with some of that standing gold still on the map, but Scout looking to do some damage up here.
Angel is in a bit of trouble here. He is going to
teleport
his way out.
CS.
He's going to get himself altered away.
He goes for the fight. He goes for the fight. No, that was so big brain, and the Requiem will get the kill. Alley-oop.
That is a great call out, Mazel, because Angel, yeah, he escapes Scout, but he immediately goes into the enemy jungle. We talked about how Angel is the Twisted Fate player in the LPL. Really, it feels like he's the one that's been playing it in mid lane, at least. He's going to at least get out a little bit from Scout's damage there to secure this topside push. And now OMG have a gold lead. They have a very good scaling composition, which we've mentioned a couple of times. It really does feel like OMG have now broken the strongest aspect of LNG, which is the side lanes. They've won that last objective fight. They break open a turret for themselves. And you can see LNG, they're desperate. They need to fight now.
Oh, they are looking to fight, and they're going to do it right. They got Zika all the way in the back. You got TP now coming in from Cube. He's going to be a big body, but they try to go for Angel first, and they absolutely dissect him off of the body of OMG, and the rest is coming down now. Zika. Oh, he's locked down a little bit. Scout looking for some damage on Starry, but Starry has the Edge of Night, so he can block away from it. Scout in the angle here on the Xiaofeng to do some damage. He gets that gold and he's buying so much time. He's going to have another distortion after this. The engage from Hung. Chains of corruption don't matter. It ain't stopping nobody as the fourth shot comes clean. A double kill for Gala.
Oh my word. Huge, huge three-man distort at the back of that play. Picks up the damage. I thought that Starry was going to wipe the fight. LNG, they looked for a big fight just as OMG hadn't found their resets, and they do manage to get it. Now, with Xiaofeng off the board, with no one really in range to contest from OMG, after LNG kind of threw the last few minutes of play, they get themselves a Baron and back into contention.
Burn down this Baron real fast. The vision will just show what's inevitably going to go LNG's way. The Chillin has awoken and roared to life. We get all those Baron buffs, but we're going back to that replay right now.
Let's have a look at how this works. Gala, long range on the Jhin means he can follow up from a little longer than you can on other different picks here. Gets himself the ult here too. But then after this point, it feels like LNG outpaced Gala a little too much. What happens with Xiaofeng here? So he walks up, tries to get himself towards that fight very quickly. Wall of Pain doesn't get that much value. And then you can just see Scout manages to get this huge kind of wraparound here without any CC available to them. Gets himself only the two-man distort, but it's onto two very important people. I feel like Xiaofeng just doesn't quite get the value he needs. If he'd managed to even just, again, die in the enemy team, maybe it would have helped a lot more. I wonder whether Xiaofeng could have gotten more value out of there. Again, he's got a lot of gold on this Karthus. If he gets himself good damage, I think LNG are going to melt.
And we got to look at some item completions here, too. Yes, we have 3 items on Starry. We saw the use of that Edge of Night. The Shireldia's Grudge going to be big. We got the IE completed for Gala. He's going to be very close to Lord Doms as well, so he'll be able to have a little bit more damage behind the utility. And then you also have Scout, who looks like he's working towards maybe a Rabadon.
Yeah, well, he's got 17 stacks. You know, that's a hell of a lot. He's got himself a lot of stacks from that one. Gold card walking forward. Fire Cannon, very important. We talked about how important that is. You have to do that with the Twisted Fates. It's such an important item for them. And once again, looks like it's front to back. LNG do not want to be messing around with flanks, I guess. They just want to be jumping straight at them.
We got Dragon coming up now, so this is why we're seeing so much contest over the mid. We have Baron still alive for the Baron buff, at least, for another minute and a half for LNG. OMG going to move in after clearing that wave now, clearing some of this vision here. Gala almost half health, so he's going to have to do his damage from a distance. You get Scout getting some poke in, though, here. Yeah,
I really have to say, Starry has been the far more impactful AD carry. It's just not been a game about AD carries completely. Starry's comboed up well. Gala is now, of course, you said, got that Infinity Edge. That very much helps when it comes to picking up a little bit of that extra damage too. And the Dragon is started up. It's going to get burned down quickly. Remember, there's a Karthus in the game.
Wei coming around the corner. Gala looking, no, okay, just going to go to Xiaofeng. So they give over a second Hextech Dragon in a row. OMG get the play, and while LNG were a little bit behind it, but now they have the Baron buff to push down bot side tier 2.
They do. Scout didn't have himself in position to start the fight, and now OMG corralling them.
There you are, absolute corral. You know, maybe looking like fish in a barrel here. PP God not going to go for it just yet, but now hits the depth charge. Here comes Angel on the other side with the yellow card. Collateral damage, just trying to get the escape. They already take down Hung, but the Chains of Corruption goes wide, so that's all OMG get.
And it's not really what the fight which OMG wants. They only get the support. They start falling apart around the rest of the map with the last bit of the Baron buff from LNG too. So that's going to be some map pressure coming in from LNG. At least OMG walk away with that Dragon, which we noted earlier. And they get something to stop the last bit of the push towards bot lane. But all things said and done, I think LNG are happy with what happened in the last phase of that play. OMG need to find a way to get themselves a proper front to back. If they get that, I think they're completely happy with how the itemization works at this point. I think that they have enough damage between particularly Starry and the CC combo to kill the first target very well.
Got to find the right first target, it feels like. Gonna have a lot of time to think about that game plan, though. Is Hung and Wei going to be looking as the kill squad right now for LNG? Got to do some check-in on how we're thinking about this mid lane matchup. We had Scout's first pick LeBlanc here doing some work, but Angel's starting to fight back with his homegrown TF.
Yeah, that TF was, again, one of the points that we focused on a lot because of the history of that pick. Gonna say this too, though. You know, Xiaofeng coming up from LDL himself not too long ago, coming up towards OMG to replace Aki, who'd been there for so many years. he's had some good games, particularly on the Viego. The Karthus not necessarily something which I would have put towards him. Cube, he's going to have to ult out of this. He should be fine. Yeah, and indeed he does. But Xiaofeng, he has the ability to turn this game. He hasn't had the huge game-winning fights yet that we know that a late-game Karthus can do. But he has himself a lot of damage on the board if he gets himself into the right position.
I mean, we asked earlier, can you survive the 25, 30 minutes? They've done so, right? We're almost going to be at 30 minutes here. They'll have a lot of strength through Xiaofeng added to the roster. But I think now we get those third items for Scout and Gala. I guess fourth item for Scout. He has gotten that Rabadons now as he TP'd bot side to get that tier 2. We also got that Lord Doms for Gala. So no slouches. They've controlled the lead for a little bit now, even though OMG had it earlier. But we're getting now to a point where you have to get vision on the map and keep pressuring, because you don't want to let OMG just continue scaling.
No, but you also can't just throw your bodies at the enemy and just look for picks. The thing about LeBlanc is that she can often be a lane bully, and when LeBlanc is strong, she is a lane bully, and she transitions from that point up to big plays, but it's dangerous to keep jumping in. They do manage to get good damage onto PP God, but they can't quite finish the kill.
Gala can't hit a shot there. Hits one on a PP God, does a decent amount. But a little bit, as he hits 16 after that one. They're going to look out this top side, because this is where LNG thrive, right? If they can get some chip damage, they can find a pick out, they can find a big engage, things like that are going to go really well for them. Trying to steal away this. Starry does complete his fourth item as well with the upgrade for the Manamune. And here comes OMG to try to take out Hong. He has that rapid fire there, so very close.
Yeah, Hong manages to just about get enough move speed to move out of that one. Scout walking towards Cube. Doesn't have huge amounts of magic penetration. Yep. He has the Blight and Jewel, which is enough to threaten most.
Money. That's all he's there for, man. That's all Scout is.
That's true. I completely forgot about just first strike farming. Do you remember Talon Jungle doing that? Where he wouldn't even look to kill you all the time. He'd just like take 80% of your HP and just flip over a wall. It was like, thanks for your wallet. Great. That was a time. 2021 Worlds. That's when Talon Jungles did the thing. That was, I enjoyed it for a bit. And like many new fun things within League, I enjoyed it for one patch and then I wanted it gone. Shout out to Trindamir, similar thing.
Cube. They do a decent amount of damage now, Cube. You gotta be careful. Big dog. As, he does make it out of there, but almost half his health gone. They have Dragon Cone up, so he's got to get a reset. He has TP, though. Yeah,
he has Teleport, which helps. Now, the thing about Teleports on tanks is that it allows you to effectively play with 2 health bars. But Scout cancels the back. That's a problem. That's a bit of an issue. It means that he won't be in position to keep protecting his team. Gold card, Fire Cannon down. That will charge up quickly enough at that point. Gotta wonder now as well, when the DPS check is going to come in from the likes of Starry and Xiaofeng, just trying to one-shot someone. The big Karthus, I'm wondering why we're not seeing it at the start of fights more. Level 16 on the Karthus. We're so powerful to try and chunk out Scout right now. Going towards the first target again.
Scout wants this. Oh, yeah. LNG want this all day. They have picked them apart at the seams. The curtain call will finish him off as Gala makes good on his performance. LNG, they baited the front line of OMG. And what left to hold their carries ripe and juicy on the back line for the chillin' to eat all day long. They have completely trounced them under turret. Ixtal's impact will push you out of there, and Cube will be the last to fall, but surely not the least, as the towers will join their teammates.
LNG were known as the Turtle Team back in spring. The thing is, that might be derogatory to some. In Chinese mythology, there's a thing called a dragon turtle. It's one of the divine beasts, and LNG, they went from a lowly tortoise into one of them. I felt like over the back part of Spring Split. They've been slow again today. I'm not going to say they don't have a little turtle shell on their back, but it has looked effective, even if it has been slow.
That combination, I hope we get a replay of that one soon, as the big purple worm will go down. Baron, buff aplenty for all 5 members, and let's take a look at this. Look, OMG's front line goes so far forward. That's
a huge Graves ult as well to start things off. But the thing is, look, one of these teams is using their ultimates to get a HP advantage at the start of things. The other one is waiting too long. I mean, I really think that Xiaofeng getting caught out like this, and even getting pulled out of the fight by Zucker as well. Like, Xiaofeng in the late game has had the damage to churn these fights, but hasn't really been pressing the buttons at the right point. Again, should just be pushing that ult on cooldown, chunking out Gala and Scout.
OMG have gotten the last 2 dragons in a row. LNG not going to want to let them do that last time. Cube just goes straight forward, and they have a lot of health shred now. He's going to unstoppable force his way out of that one. PP God takes a 4th-shot curtain call to the dome. Now Scout, he's patiently waiting like a killer. Going on to Starry there, forces his flash. The rest of LNG have streamed forth. Cube is just a ragdoll over there. Even with the Requiem getting one back, they'll still get the depth charge out of PP God too. Cube trying to run around the corner. Now Scout looking for Angel, looking for anybody, anything that he can set his teeth into, he'll take as he goes for another. The rest of his team coming to support him. An angry Krat, given the anomaly of how LNG are feeling in this one. They were angry. They wanted to finish this one, and it's a 2-0 here.
And when the group draw happened for LPL Summer 2024, OMG, when they saw they were in a group with not just top esports for LNG as well, they put their head in their hands. We had some questions about what level of form LNG and OMG would come into Summer. LNG, they are still the slow, methodical team, but you can't deny it's effective.
Love to see some culmination, I guess, of this group as well, justifying that we do have our 2 top teams here, it seems. But OMG put up a good fight.